In this part of the chapter, we'll be learning about a second category of fossil fuel, petroleum. First, we will learn how petroleum is formed, and later we'll also be having at the wider uses and the kind of products that we obtain from petroleum. Petroleum is known as crude oil and oil, and it is derived from the word petra, which means rock, and oleum, which means oil. So the stratification of all those rocky layers and the oil in the form of fossil fuel that we obtain as a source of energy, this is known as petroleum. So it is mined from between the rocks under earth. Basically, this petroleum, this crude oil or oil that we are talking about, they are found at the bottom of the sea, all right, sea or oceans. So basically the beds, all right, the groundermost portion is where the formation of petroleum happens. And since oil is lighter in density than water, then it floats above the surface. Okay, so it's a yellowish black liquid that is found in geological formations beneath the earth's surface. And how it is formed, it is also formed between the rocks under earth. So the same stratification, the same decomposition and decaying of the dead remaining parts of plants and animals taking place over millions and millions of years. Okay, and the same thing is happening over here. There is an extreme of heat, there is an extreme of pressure. Where is this extreme of heat happening? This extreme of heat is occurring in between the stratification, in between the layers of these rocks. Okay, and it is commonly refined, means it is commonly processed industrially to form various type of products. So this crude oil is not refined. By the word refined, I mean that it is not processed, or it is not some chemical reaction is not subjected to some chemical reactions, so that a lot of different products can be obtained from it. Basically, this crude oil is a source of many different products, such as petrol, such as paraffin, diesel, okay, and some other chemicals as well that we'll be having a look at. Okay, so this cannot be used, this cannot be put to use immediately until and unless it has been separated. All right, so we have used this term crude oil for the petroleum, and after this crude oil or this petroleum is being sent to some industrial process, okay, is set to some chemical subjection, is set to some refining. After that, we are obtaining the different products that I just named. All right, and then these different products are further processed so that their use could be made to achieve our desired products. Okay, have you seen the use of petroleum in daily life? Yes. The most common example is Vaseline. If you happen to come across a Vaseline, you can say product, okay, any product of Vaseline, okay, there is written over there petroleum jelly. All right, it is a very direct source of petroleum product. It is being refined to form that paraffin wax like jelly like structure. All right, and it is very healthy for nourishing our skin, our lips. Okay, so Vaseline is the most common use. There are other uses as well, and we'll be seeing later on in the following slides. How is petroleum formed? So you can see over here that under the oceans, all right, in the seabeds, there obviously there will be some plants and animals that are dying. All right, there would be some decaying organic material that is being obtained from these aquatic plants and animals. So at the bottom of the sea, these dead decaying bodies, they got covered with layers of sand and clay. All right, obviously when a dead body is similarly as we had studied that under the layer of the earth, under the crust of the earth, amidst the soil and amidst all those rocky structures, all right, those dead and decaying plants, they were getting stratified, they're getting layered. So similarly, in ocean beds or in seas bed also, the similar thing happens. These dead remains of aquatic plants and aquatic animals, they're getting stratified, they're getting covered under the layers of sand and clay soil or whatever type of soil is present at the bottom of the sea. Okay, with structures of rocks, with structures of these soil. Okay, and over millions of years, in between high temperature and pressure, there will be pressure between those layers because it is being compressed. All right, it is being compressed, it is being layered. The similar example can be used here, that if you wear 4, 5, 6 layers of clothes, okay, then you are bound to get you're bound to feel hot, okay, because you have put upon layers and layers of clothing. So in between these layers of clothing there will be some heat that is getting produced. So although if you want to argue that it is occurring in an ocean, so how can heat be produced? So similar thing is happening, that even if there is water all around, but amidst those stratification of dead and decaying organic matter, there is some heat, there is some pressure, there is some compression, all right. And over millions of years, these take the form of some oil and some gas as well. So we are not just getting that petroleum, the crude oil that I introduced you to, but we are also getting some gas. Some gas is also getting released, and they come up over the water layer, okay, all right. And from there it is extracted with the help of proper equipment, proper machineries, and that is how you get petroleum, okay. The layer containing petroleum oil and gas is above that of water. Why is it so? So I've been hinting at this question. This is because the density, okay, the mass per volume unit, all right, the density of oil and gas is less than that of water. So water has the highest density over here, then you have oil, and then you have gas. So the natural gas that I talked about, that will be floating in the uppermost position. Then you would have the crude oil or the petroleum, okay, and then you would finally have the water layer. So this product of natural gas and crude oil is floating above that of water. That is because it is less in density than water, all right. And being less in density, it is floating, okay. Did you know that the world's first oil well was first drilled in Pennsylvania, USA in 1859? So it was in 1859 that the first you can say equipment was established, or you might even say invented, so that petroleum oil could be extracted. And 8 years later, in 1867, oil was struck at Makum in Assam. So in India, oil was found first in 1867, and it is found in Assam, Gujarat, Mumbai High, and the river basins of Godavari and Krishna. So why these coastal areas are getting included? Because you saw that in the formation slide that this petroleum is formed at the bottom of the sea, at the sea beds, where the dead and decaying plants, organic matter of aquatic plants and aquatic animals, they're getting stratified over layers of rocks and soil, clay soil, sandy soil, okay. And after the stratification is happening, some fossil fuel is being formed, namely your petroleum oil and your natural gas. And after millions of years, when it is very profusely and maturedly formed, then it floats above the water, okay, because it is lighter in density as compared to water. First the oil, then first the gas and then the oil, and is extracted above this water layer near the coastal areas. So in India, it is found mainly in Assam, Gujarat, Mumbai High, and the river basins of Godavari and Krishna, that is towards the south. Now, like I told you, this crude oil, it has various other constituents, but you cannot use these constituents until and unless some chemical subjection has been put, this petroleum has been put to some chemical subjection. So a term known as refining is used. I'm repeating this so that the different constituents of petroleum can be extracted from this crude oil. Okay, so you can consider this crude oil as an amalgamation or an accumulation, okay, of various useful products, all right, not one, not two, but many useful products, and they occur together in the form of this oil. And this oil it has an unpleasant odor. It is a dark, oily liquid, and after it is being subjected to some chemical treatment, some refining, then you can extract these products individually as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many are there, okay. So this crude oil, it is a dark, oily substance. It is thick in consistency. It has an unpleasant odor and is a mixture of various constituents. It occurs as an amalgamation. So some chemical subjection is put into use, on this petroleum, on this crude oil, and after it has been refined, you get the individual product, you get the individual constituent, namely natural gas, petroleum, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin wax, etc. Even some chemicals that we will be learning about. So these, the process of separating the various constituents or fractions of petroleum is known as refining. So the same thing that I've been repeating, that refining is that process through which these individual constituents, they are separated from this amalgamation of crude oil. And it is, since the term has been, the process has been named refining, so the industrial plant, the industrial power plant or the factory where this is occurring is known as a petroleum refinery. All right. The various constituents of petroleum and the uses. So like I told you that this crude oil is an amalgamation of various products. It's a mixture of various products. So we will be learning now about these individual constituents, these individual products that we can extract from this petroleum, from this crude oil. The first is here the petroleum gas in liquid form, which we use in our kitchen. All right, as a source for cooking our food, for as a source of fuels, and not just in a home but also in some industrial uses. So what is this LPG that comes in a red cylinder at your home? This is nothing but liquefied petroleum gas. Okay, liquefied petroleum gas. So there is some gas that you are extracting from this crude oil, and this gas is highly beneficent in order to cook food that you cannot just cook in your home, but it also can be used for some industrial processes. And since it has to be supplied to your home, so it is done in the form of liquefaction. It is liquefied and then it is put into that red cylinder that arrives at your respective homes. And then when you switch on the gas, the pressure is since the outside pressure is lower, so the liquid is then it then comes out of the stove in the gaseous form, and then you are able to use it as a fuel for cooking food. Then you have petrol, by which your cars and other vehicles they run. So it's a motor fuel. It's also used in aviation. Aviation fuel means fuel that is used as a source of energy in aeroplanes and other vehicles that can fly, that can use for flying. Okay, and solvent for dry cleaning. Then besides petrol, you also have diesel. All right, for the same purpose. Then you have kerosene. Kerosene, you must have come across some that lamp. That lamp is not in use right now, but it used to be. If you come across any movie, any old Indian movie, especially of the you can say the late 90s or the 80s, okay, of the previous century, all right, not of this century. So you must come across certain occasions or certain instances of that films where people they are using kerosene lamps, that lantern, okay, that is also the symbol of the RJD political party. Okay, so kerosene is used as a fuel for lamps and also for stoves and also for some jet aircraft. Okay, so kerosene is a fuel used for stove, for lamp and jet aircraft. Then you have diesel. Next to petrol, you have diesel. You know this, it's a fuel for heavy motor vehicles, mainly trucks and all, lorries and all, they use diesel instead of petrol, and also electrical generators. Then some lubricating oils, basically it has some industrial purposes, it is used for lubrication. Okay, and then you have the paraffin wax, out of which your Vaseline, that petroleum jelly, is that product is formed, and also it is used as a base. As a base means in it is used as a you can say the starting material over under no the starting material in which other products are mixed. Okay, so it's used as a base in ointments, and it's directly used, paraffin wax is directly used in the production of candles. But when you're talking about ointments, this paraffin wax is basically used as a base so that other materials could be mixed into it. Okay, then you're getting bitumen. This bitumen, if you may remember, is that same bitumen that is used for metaling roads, and it is used as a substituent for coal tar. Okay, if you remember that slide from a coal. So it is used for paints and road surfacing. various constituents of petroleum and the uses. You have candles where the paraffin wax is being used directly. Okay, this is the lantern that I was trying so hard to explain you. Okay, so for this burning of this lantern, the liquid, the as you use is you do not use wax to enable this lantern to burn. You use kerosene. Okay, this is your liquefied petroleum gas, the gas cylinder that comes at your home in which you cook food. All right, and this is your very old Vaseline, your petroleum jelly that is being used to keep your lips and your skin moisturized. Okay. Now, there are some other materials. There are some other constituents that are derived from this crude oil, and these constituents they are chemical constituents. Basically, they are some compounds. Okay, they are some chemical compounds, and they are also derived how by the same process by refining. Okay, and these chemical compounds, since they are being obtained from petroleum, so we give this the name of petrochemicals. Okay, apart from all the stuff that we just saw, diesel, kerosene, paraffin wax, okay, LPG, apart from all these substances, there are some chemical compounds also that you get from petroleum, that you get from crude oil. So since you're getting it from petroleum by the process of refining, we give it the name petrochemicals. Many useful substances obtained from petroleum and natural gas, these are termed as petrochemicals. And the usage of petrochemicals, that is used highly in the manufacture of detergents, okay, and synthetic fiber. If you remember the first chapter that we had discussed, in the production of polyester, nylon, acrylic, etc. Okay, then in the production of also plastics such as polythene and other man-made plastics. And hydrogen gas obtained from natural gas is used in the production of fertilizers. So if you may remember the previous chapter that we had discussed the use of this non-metal hydrogen, that is highly used as a source of rocket fuel. Okay, so that same use has been listed here because this hydrogen gas that is being extensively used as a rocket fuel is derived as a product of petroleum in the form of chemical compound, that is your petrochemical. So petrochemical is used for the manufacture of detergents, for the manufacture of synthetic fibers such as polyester, nylon, acrylic, then in the formation of plastics such as polythene, okay, and then also hydrogen gas, it is derived and that is used as a source of rocket fuels. And apart from that, it is also used in the production of fertilizers, urea. All right, it is used in the production of fertilizers as well. And there is a fun fact by which we are ending this section of petroleum. It is also known as black gold, since it is very thick in consistency and it is almost yellowish, brownish yellowish in color. So the name has been given to it, black gold. Gold, you know, is a very precious metal that is used to make beautiful ornaments and is costly. So the name black gold is given to petroleum because petroleum has so many extensive uses. All right, you just saw so many important products of your life that you cannot imagine without petroleum. Right? You cannot imagine how you'll cook your food if you do not get that LPG delivered at your home, or Vaseline, or petrol, or diesel. How will your cars run? All right. So since there is so extensive use of petroleum, and not just as a source of fuel, but also as a source of petrochemicals, like you just saw, detergents, synthetic fibers, right? As a rocket fuel, as a fertilizer. So it has so many myriad uses. It has such an extensive use. That is why the term black gold has been given to petroleum for its great commercial importance. So with this, we end this section of the chapter. And in the coming section, we'll be discussing about the last fossil fuel, that is natural gas.